Hello BookTube, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Now, the last 24 hours or so haven't really gone as planned, so I'm a little behind on getting to making this, but I wanted to make sure I got it filmed and put up for Poetry Thursday. Last week, Steve Donahue read a poem and discussed it on his channel and opened up the challenge to everybody to read a poem and talk about it this Thursday on their channel. And so I couldn't pass up on that. It initially started with Bits of Lit challenging Brian at Bookish to do that on his channel, and it's kind of evolved from there. Now, I had originally considered doing something like reading some Beowulf in Old English or some Canterbury Tales in Middle English to open this up, but I ran out of time to be able to do something like a fake out like that. I then considered doing something like Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge or Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti, both excellent poems. If you have not read them before, go check those out. But again, for the constraints of time and purposes of convenience, I'm going to skip both of those, but I highly recommend them. So today I'm going into my comfort zone. I'm going to talk about Tolkien. Big surprise, right? I'm the Inkling fanatic, why not do Tolkien? And so this poem, Mythopoeia, stemmed from a discussion that Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, among others, had one September evening in 1931, where, among many things, the discussion talked about the value of myth, or lack thereof, in relation to Christian doctrine. And so Tolkien was a firm believer that myths have value to tell the deepest truths of human experience. And so that rather than detracting from the Christian message, they actually can make it more accessible, can enhance it to the common layman, to the casual reader, whoever out there could be reached by it. And this particular conversation and this evening happens to be one of remarkable note for C.S. Lewis in particular, because it was this evening that C.S. Lewis went down the path of conversion to becoming a Christian. And we have tomes upon tomes from C.S. Lewis that the world would be a far less enriched place without. So this was a very important date in history. But this particular poem relates solely to myth, and this is Tolkien's kind of defense of myth in poetic form. So he wrote it in a heroic couplet. So it is pairs of rhyming iambic pentameter verses. And it starts with a little, I don't even know what it would be described as, but a little remark to open it up. To one who said that myths were lies and therefore worthless, even though breathed through silver. Philomythus to Misomythus, so from myth lover to myth hater. And the poem itself, Mythopoeia, means myth maker. You look at trees and label them just so, for trees are trees and growing is to grow. You walk the earth and tread with solemn pace, one of many minor globes of space. A star's a star, some matter in a ball, compelled to courses mathematical, amid the regimented cold inane, where destined atoms are each moment slain, at bidding of a will, of which we bend, and must but only dimly apprehend. Great processes march on as time unrolls, from dark beginnings to uncertain goals, as on page o'erwritten, without clue, with script and limning packed of various hue, an endless multitude of forms appear, some grim, some frail, some beautiful, some queer. Each alien except as kin from one remote origo, gnat, man, stone, and sun. God made the petrious rocks, the arboreal trees, Tellurian earth, and stellar stars, and these homuncular men who walk upon the ground with nerves that tingle touched by light and sound. The movements of the sea and wind and boughs, green grass, the large slow oddity of cows. Thunder and lightning, birds that wheel and cry, slime crawling up from mud to live and die. These each are duly registered in print, the brain's contortions with separate dint. Yet trees are not trees until so named and seen, and never were so named till these had been, whose speech involuted breath unfurled, faint echo and dim picture of the world, but neither record nor a photograph, being divination, judgment, and a laugh. responsive those that felt a stir within by deep monition movements that were kin to life and death of trees, of beasts, of stars, free captives undermining shadowy bars, digging the foreknown from experience and panning the vein of spirit out of sense. Great powers they slowly brought out of themselves, and looking backward they beheld the elves, that wrought on cunning forges in the mind, and light and dark on secret looms entwined. He sees no stars who does not see them first, of living silver made that sudden burst, to flame like flowers beneath an ancient song, whose very echo after music long has since pursued. There is no firmament, only a void unless a jeweled tent, myth-woven and elf-patterned, and no earth unless the mother's womb once all have birth. The heart of man is not compound of lies, but draws some wisdom from the only wise, and still recalls him, though now long estranged. Man is not wholly lost, nor wholly changed. Disgraced he may be, yet is not dethroned, and keeps the rags of lordship once he owned. His world dominion by creative act, not his to worship the great artifact. Man, sub-creator, the refracted light, through whom is splintered from a single white, to many hues and endlessly combined, in living shapes that move from mind to mind. Though all the crannies of the world we filled with elves and goblins, though we dared to build gods in their houses out of darkened light, and sowed the seed of dragons, 'twas our right. Used or misused, the right has not decayed. We make still by the law in which we're made. Yes, wish-fulfillment dreams we spin to cheat our timid hearts, and ugly fact defeat. Whence came the wish, and whence the power to dream, or some things fair and others ugly deem? All wishes are not idle nor in vain. Fulfillment we devise, for pain is pain. Not for itself to be desired but ill, or else to strive, or to subdue the will. Alike we're graceless and of evil this alone is deadly certain, evil is. Blessed are the timid hearts that evil hate, that quail in his shadow and yet shut the gate, that seek no parley in unguarded room, though small and bait upon a clumsy loom. We've tissues gilded by the far-off day, hoped and believed in under shadow's sway. Blessed are the men of Noah's race that build their little arks, though frail and poorly filled, and steer through winds contrary toward a wrath, a rumor of a harbor guessed by faith. Blessed are the legend makers with their rhyme of things not found within recorded time. It is not they that have forgot the night, or bid us flee to organized delight, in lotus isles of economic bliss, forswearing souls to gain a Circe kiss, and counterfeit it that machine produced bogus seduction of the twice seduced. Such isles they saw afar, and ones more fair as those that hear them yet may yet beware. They have seen death and ultimate defeat, and yet they would not in despair retreat, but oft to victory have tuned the lyre, and kindled hearts with legendary fire, illuminating now when dark hath been, with light of suns, and yet by no man seen. I would that I might with the minstrels sing, and stir the unseen with a throbbing string. I would be with the mariners of the deep, that cut the slender planks of mountains steep, and voyage upon a vague and wandering quest, for some have passed beyond that fabled west. I would with the beleaguered fools be told, that keep an inner fastness where their gold, and pure and scanty yet they loyally bring, to mint an image blurred of distant king, or in fantastic banners weave the sheen heraldic emblems of a lord unseen. I will not walk with your progressive apes, erect and sapient. Before them gapes the dark abyss to which their progress tends, if by God's mercy progress ever ends, and does not ceaselessly revolve the same unfruitful course with changing of a name. I will not treat your dusty path and flat, denoting this and that by this and that. Your world immutable wherein no part the little maker has with maker's art. I bow not yet before the iron crown, nor cast my own small golden scepter down. In paradise perchance the eye may stray from gazing upon an everlasting day, to see the day illumined and renew from mirrored truth the likeness of the true. Then looking on the blessed land 'twill see that all is as it is, and yet made free. Salvation changes not, nor yet destroys garden nor gardener, children nor their toys. Evil it will not see, for evil lies not in God's picture but in crooked eyes, not in the source but in malicious choice, and not in sound but in the tuneless voice. In paradise they look no more awry, and though they make anew, they make no lie. Be sure they still will make, not being dead, and poets shall have flames upon their head, and harps whereon their faultless fingers fall. There each shall choose forever from the all. Now, I should have discussion with this. And let's be honest, my phone is not the greatest in terms of storage. So rather than risk losing all of this, I'm going to end it here. But the key thing to take away out here is Tolkien and his thoughts on Subcreator. And I'm going to be doing a full video soon talking more in depth about this and on fairy stories leading into the Silmarillion reading, because both of those are really important to understanding Tolkien and his beliefs on creation and the idea of being a sub-creator, as you heard in there inside the poem, and how it is an act of reflection upon God, because God is the great creator, and so we as creations of God also have the impulse to create as sub-creators. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're not already, and happy Poetry Thursday.